Welcome to the weekly MindSweep number 195. Mind your business, self-worth. The to-do list that measured my worth. I used to think I loved productivity, but what I really loved was proof. Proof that I was doing enough. Proof that I wasn't lazy. Proof that I was keeping up with everyone else who was running a business, raising kids, posting content, staying hydrated, and still managed to color code their calendars. And nowhere did that proof show up louder than my to-do list. If you've ever written something on your list after you already did it, just to check it off, then you know exactly what I mean. That tiny, satisfying checkmark isn't about progress, it's about permission. Permission to feel okay, permission to rest, permission to exist without guilt. That hit of relief, that surge of, that's dopamine, the brain's way of saying, yes, you did a thing. Gold star for you, human. For years, my worth was tied to that check mark. I didn't realize it at first because it looked like motivation, drive, and success. And when you're an ADHD entrepreneur, you get a lot of praise for your hustle. People call you unstoppable, creative, brilliant, and ambitious. They see your whirlwind of ideas and say, how do you do it all? But they don't see the crash that comes after. The shame spiral when the list wins, when your brain's bandwidth shrinks, and you suddenly can't make yourself care about anything that isn't giving you a quick dopamine hit. For me, the to-do list wasn't just a tool, it was a scoreboard. And I was both the player and the referee. I was constantly judging myself for how much I could produce, not how much I was actually living. We live in a world that confuses productivity with character. If you're busy, you're valuable. If you rest, you must be lazy. We create the grind as if it were a spiritual practice. We glorify the all-nighter, the endless calendar, the inbox zero. We equate output with goodness. But what happens when your brain doesn't work that way? For ADHD and creative entrepreneurs, productivity isn't a straight line. Our energy ebbs and flows. Our focus surges in bursts of brilliance, only to disappear without warning. We can transition from a hyper-focused state to a total shutdown in one day. And yet, we still measure ourselves by society's schedule. We start the day by asking, what do I need to accomplish? Instead of, what do I need to experience? When creativity doesn't show up on command, we call ourselves lazy. When our capacity drops, we question our worth. When we rest, we feel behind. We forget that our self-worth was never meant to be determined by how much we do. Every task completed, every milestone achieved, every late night powered through becomes another badge sewn on the sash of our adult merit badge, also known as our self-image. We're so conditioned to perform productively that we've stopped questioning where the expectation came from. Let's be honest, patriarchy did a number on all of us, regardless of gender. It built an entire economy around output as a measure of identity. Work harder, do more, prove your value. And when you layer ADHD on top of that, the story gets even more complicated. Creative brains crave novelty and reward because dopamine is our favorite currency. So of course we're drawn to lists, metrics, and visible progress because they give our brains exactly what we're wired to seek. But that same wiring also sets up for a constant chase. We're either soaring on a high of hyperfocus or spiraling into the shame of not doing enough. For us, there's no middle ground. In the world of entrepreneurship, that tension can feel like a matter of survival. If I slow down, I'll fall behind. If I don't post, sell, or show up, I'll disappear. We've equated consistency with worth, but creativity doesn't work that way. One of the most liberating things I learned through a lot of trial, error, and nervous system meltdowns is that creativity doesn't obey calendars. You can't spreadsheet your intuition. You can't plan inspiration. You can't schedule a transformation on a timeline. Creative entrepreneurs know this deep down, but we still try to fit our process into a 9 to 5 box because that's what looks respectable. That's what feels safe. We build businesses around our gifts, then guilt ourselves for not running them like factories. When we can't keep up with the impossible pace, we question our capacity. When our capacity fluctuates, which it will, we question our worth. Self-worth and capacity are not the same thing. Your worth is constant. Your capacity is variable. That's the human design, and it's especially true for neurodivergent brains. Yet we forget. We push. We override. We measure days of output instead of energy alignment. And every time we do, we reinforce an old neural pathway. I am what I produce. So, why does it feel so good to check that box? It's dopamine, our favorite neurochemical. Every time you complete a task, your brain rewards you with the small burst of pleasure and motivation. That's normal and healthy. But over time, when a dopamine loop becomes your primary source of validation, your brain learns, I only feel good when I'm productive. This is reward conditioning, and it's especially strong in creative brains because dopamine regulation is trickier for us. We seek stimulation and novelty to feel a sense of balance. Productivity gives us that hit, but it also becomes addictive. That's why rest can feel uncomfortable and why we sometimes sabotage ourselves by working past our limits just to feel in motion. Next week, we'll dig into the neuroscience of this, how dopamine, executive functioning, and self worth are intertwined, and how you can rewire your brain to find that sense of safety without needing to constantly produce. So, what do we do with all of this? First, we name it. We stop pretending this is about time management. It's about identity. When you realize your drive to produce is also your drive to prove, everything changes. You stop trying to fix your focus and start tending to your self-worth. You start asking new questions. When do I feel most valuable? What triggers my guilt or urgency to do more? What am I afraid might happen if I slow down? What does my brain label as lazy or wasteful? What would it mean if enough wasn't something I had to earn? Your answers reveal your inherited programming, the stories passed down from family, culture, and yes, capitalism. Then zoom into your micro behaviors. Are you adding something to your list just to check it off? Are you justifying rest by calling it recharging for productivity? Are you feeling uneasy when there's no visible progress? None of this means you're broken. They mean your brain has been trained to equate worth with output, and you can train it differently. Creativity doesn't happen in the checklist. It happens in the margin. It's the walk you take without your phone. It's the nap that resets your nervous system. It's the quiet space between what's next and what's now. The world doesn't need you to be more productive. It needs you to be more present. That's where the magic lives. Awareness is where change begins, but it isn't the whole story. Once you understand how productivity and self-worth are intertwined, the next step is to give your brain a new script to interrupt the old loop and build a gentler one. That's what this is really about, rewiring the pattern. When you teach your brain that value isn't something you earn through output, you start living and creating from a place of enoughness. Here's how we're going to rewire that pattern. Number one, name the story out loud. Catch yourself measuring the day by output and pause. Say it out loud. My brain is looking for proof I'm valuable. That single moment breaks the loop and weakens the old wiring. Number two, redefine the evidence. Create new metrics for success that are not tied to quantity. Here are some examples to try. I honored my capacity today. I worked in alignment with my energy. I stayed curious instead of critical. Write them where your to-do list lives. Let them become your new benchmarks. Number three, celebrate rest as resistance. Write rest on your list and check it off first. Teach your brain that rest counts. You're pairing dopamine with recovery, not depletion. Number four, detach worth from capacity. Low capacity days aren't failures, they're data. When your nervous system asks for rest, remember that's wisdom, not weakness. Number five, replace productive with present. When your brain demands proof of productivity, ask instead, was I present for my life today? Presence builds connection. Connection fuels creativity, and creativity sustains business. Number six, build in reflection. At the day's end, skip the output review and reflect instead, what energized me? What drained me? You're teaching your brain to value awareness over activity. Rewiring takes practice, not perfection. It's not about throwing away the to-do list. It's about changing the relationship you have with it. The list isn't the problem. It's the story underneath it. Start to rewrite that story, and the check mark starts to lose its power. I still write to-do lists, but they don't own me anymore. And yes, because this is a practice, sometimes I still catch myself adding an extra line just so I can check it off. Sent that email? Check. Watered the plants? Wait, I have plants? Check. Fed Walter White Boots? Check. And when I do, I laugh because I know exactly what's happening. My brain is chasing safety. It's whispering, please tell me that I'm okay. Please tell me that I did enough. And when I answer it differently now, I tell it, we're good. We matter even without the check mark. The truth is, your worth doesn't rise and fall with your productivity. You are not your output. You are the human behind the work, the one who dreams, connects, creates, and sometimes needs a nap in the middle of the afternoon. Creativity doesn't follow society's schedule. It follows safety, curiosity, and trust. And when you start measuring your business by those metrics, everything changes. The world doesn't need more productive entrepreneurs. It needs regulated, self-trusting, boundary-holding, heart-centered ones who know that self-worth isn't something you earn. It's something you already are. My questions for you this week. What story does your to-do list tell about your self-worth? How does your brain react to rest, relief, or guilt? If this hits home, let's explore what your brain is really chasing when it's chasing the next check mark. Join me for a MindSweep mapping session, a 90-minute deep dive to help you see the patterns, reframe your relationship with productivity, and reconnect with the part of you that already knows you are enough. You'll walk away with a visual map of how your brain links self-worth, creativity, and capacity, plus practical tools to help you rewire these stories into something softer, stronger, and sustainable for you and your business. Your brain, your business, mapped. You can book a free MindSweep chat at chickbookcreative.com. If you already know where you need to work on your business, you can also book a free consultation to learn how I can support you and your business at chickbookcreative.com.